Hi everyone, it's Nicole and I'm here today with another video for the Vicky Boot design team. Today I'm going to do a Valentine kind of inspired project, and I'm starting off with some art crayons, watering them down. I have this really lovely peach, light peach color, a red, almost like a red brown color, a gray and a black. I thought about using the pink, but I realized that it's a little too bright for what I'm going to pick with the paper. So I'm going to start with these few colors. I'm really just doing this so my background isn't completely white when I'm done with the project. I'm just adding some drops, and then as you can see I did the kissing technique, and I'm just kind of filling in a little bit of that color. I don't want a really strong heavy mixed media on this, but I do want to be able to see the mixed media later on when I add in some paper on my project, as you'll see. So I'm just mixing each of the art crayons here. I'm starting with the lightest, so I did that with the peach. I'm going to dab that off now that it's dry. Adding a few just splatters of the red. I'm not going to add the kissing technique for this because I do not want it to look like big blops of red blood. So I'm just adding very subtle hints of the red brown color onto the background. I'm going to smooth that out a little with a light piece of transparency. And as you can see, I'm just moving that paint ever so slightly just to create that watercolor look. I'm going to add some black now, only to add some droplets because I am going to be using some black paper in this layout, and the subtle little kind of taps of black in the background will help kind of bring that background together. I'm just going to dab these ones off really quickly with my paper towel. Just to make sure that they're dry. I'm not going to let it set too dark. I don't want it to be super black. But then I realized I really wanted to add just a subtle touch of gray to do the exact same thing, just to add a variation of color. So I'm going to finish off with all the art crayons, and then I'm going to go ahead and just let this set aside to dry once I've dabbed off all my color. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull some scraps of paper out of my Vicky Boot scrap pile. So you can see I have a lot of different scraps from the Storyteller collection, and I'm just sorting through what I think might be best for a Valentine sort of page. So I'm just picking up some of those really rich jewel tone, the reds and the purples and that, even that pinky peach color. I'm going to pull some sheets of that as well to add to my project. I've gone ahead and cut this cut file from Just Nick Studio out of one of the black papers in the Storyteller collection. And it has like a tone on tone stripe to it, so it's a really good one to use as a base for a cut file. And I thought it would look really fun popped up with those colors from the collection. So I'm going to use those scraps, and I'm going to use the extras from the inside of that cut file as a template to kind of just fussy cut around each of them. You could definitely speed this along on your digital cutter by picking out the designs. For example, that heart, I think there's like 6 or 8 of them that I'm going to use. You can pick one of the hearts, duplicate it on your machine, and then just cut that out of the red, for example. You could do that. I kind of didn't know where things were going to be going with this page when I got started, so I don't mind kind of cutting them down and fussy cutting them out. I kind of put on a show or a movie, and I just kind of, it's relaxing for me. But there's definitely some quick ways to do it through a digital cutter itself rather than kind of cutting through each piece if you don't want to do it this way. As you can see, I am applying some tape runner to the back of the cut file, and just adding those scraps in. Those hearts don't have to be super perfect either, so as you're going through filling your cut file, don't worry too much about the shapes being completely perfect. And I am adding a little bit of a line around it just so that it sticks to the backing. I am going to do the same thing in some of the other open areas of the cut file, but not the entire thing. I don't want to fill the entire cut file background. I'm going to go ahead and do some different areas like these arches, that inside kind of petal looking design. I'm going to fill some of it and leave some of the open spaces open so that mixed media background that I did can kind of peek through because the colors will really meld together. I am going to use a little bit of liquid glue. Here I use a little bit too much, but it does make things go a little bit quicker. But you really have to be careful with liquid glue if you go this route, that you do not add a lot. You really need to use it sparingly because it will spill out to the front of your cut file design. So just be cautious on what sort of adhesive you're using. My favorite to use on a project like this is a dot runner type tape runner adhesive because you can kind of rub off the extra dots if they're showing. So you can see I've gone in with those little arches, and now I'm going to go in with the smaller hearts and fill in all of that. I will not bore you with the entire thing, but that is how it looks all filled in. a really great way to use up those scraps. I do keep a lot of scraps, so it's great for this purpose. And then I've used foam, as you can see, to just pop that up onto the left side of the project. And you can still see those splatters and mixed media peeking through. And I really kind of like that. It's a nice look instead of a pattern paper background. I'm just going to mount my photo here on some paper that matches in the heart shape. I'm using that like nice purpley color. And I'm going to add some foam tape just to pop up the edge so that kind of lines up with the edge of that mandala heart cut file. And now I'm pulling out some of my embellishments to see what I think will look best. I really love these kind of puffy stickers, so I'm going to use that for my title. And the hearts in this just really obviously go well with the colors in the pattern paper, so I'm going to use a few of those. And then I'm just kind of playing around with embellishments for the rest of the page to find out what I want to use. I'm not adding any more paper. I don't want to add a lot of extra either because, you know, that cut file does take a large portion of my page. And so I'm just going to add some items around my photo here to make it pop out a little bit more. So I'm going to start off with some chipboard. Thought about using a sub kind of title with those chipboard letters, but chose not to. I'm going to pull up my ephemera, see if there's anything in there. I think what I have left of my Storyteller ephemera is almost too large for the space that I have, but I think this butterfly will work nicely, so I'm going to use that. I don't think I can use a lot of those because I think I've decently gone through a package of those. I am going to rip up this little journaling card just to add a touch of that coral pink color. And then I love the washi so much, I keep pulling out this floral washi, so I'm going to rip a piece of that and actually stick that along the edge of my piece of paper there that I had ripped earlier, and just get that in to add a nice little extra layer. And that washi really will help pull all those colors from within the cut file because the flowers there have all the different purples and pinks and corals and stuff. So that's a good tip for that as well. I still like that washi so much. I'm going to use a little bit on the bottom too, almost to create a layer behind this chipboard. So I'm just going to, I've torn that to make it a little bit thinner and give it dimension. I'm going to add my chipboard piece back in there. Thought about using the gold washi, but decided just a little dabble do me. I didn't really want a lot of that, so just a little strip beside my photo I think is pretty much it. I do want to fill in that area between the left bottom corner of the photo and the cut file. It feels like there's just a bit of a gap. So I am going to put some embellishments there to kind of blend the whole thing together. So this circle embellishment will be good because it first will create that bridge between the cut file and the photo. And these little stickers are simply perfect to add just little tiny touches in around my kind of photo grouping I have going on here. So I'm just going to add a few little bits to this little chipboard sticker, and I think that's it. So here is a close-up of that mixed media mixed with the patterned cut file. I really love how that splatters and kissing just kind of floats through the background. It's just subtle, it's not super obvious, and I like that you can use a variety of different things on this project without it looking like too much. I did add a few cut florals there in the background and fussy cut flowers, but I like how this one turned out. So I hope you see me soon. See you next week. Bye-bye.